Good morning and good afternoon for folks who are joining in Europe, and for the folks in the far east, good evening. And thank you for joining us today to take a look at Modern Requirements NextGen. My name is Sheehan. I am the SVP of Global Sales here at Modern Requirements. You've likely seen me in many of our other webinars over the course of the last couple of years. And in December, when we were doing a review of what we were able to accomplish in 2025 and looking forward into 2026, we had a couple very exciting updates to come. And one of those updates is Modern Requirements NextGen. Over the course of our 20-year history, we've had many clients and still existing clients for decades, and new clients joining us today. And I wanted to first and foremost say thank you. And really, this evolution of our tool is for you. We've taken your feedback, we've taken your suggestions. Many of the updates and many of the improvements that we've made have been because of you, our clients. And this webinar, this evolution of our tool, our R&D's team's dedication of pushing the envelope of how we can create productivity, quality, and an experience in which can really drive businesses forward is really for you. And ultimately, this is our thank you to our existing clients. So joining me today in our webinar is Asif Sharif, our CEO and founder. He's going to be doing a bit of a demonstration of some of the capabilities and new capabilities that we have available, and we'll be rolling out shortly. Juwaria Awais, who many of you have likely had the pleasure of having her do training for you, or a demonstration, or really helping you or your organization build out your processes. So many of you probably have had the pleasure of working with her as well. So today we've brought out the A-team, I'd like to think, to show and share what we've been working on to really improve your experience. So quickly, I just want to jump through an agenda here so you can get a sense of what to expect today. Number one, we're going to talk a little bit about Modern Requirements and where we're at today, and kind of what we've been up to, not just in our team's development and the tool itself, but organizationally, how we have been kind of evolving. The second piece is we're going to look at the evolution to NextGen, some of those capabilities, what's coming, what you can expect as our valued clients in your experience, and how it's going to be improving in proficiency and performance. And then lastly, ultimately, what does this really mean for you? Now, note, in the top right-hand corner of our webinar is a Q&A box. So if you have any questions, I encourage you to drop them in the Q&A box, because at the end, towards the end of this webinar, we'll be addressing those questions, as many of them as we can. Now, note, we do always encourage you to reach out to your account executive if you wanted to have a dedicated session to do a bit of a tour of NextGen or answer any questions that you may have. So please feel free to do that as well. We'll be sharing a link later on so you can do just that. So that being said, Modern Requirements today. Well, we've been a Microsoft partner for many years, but what is new for Modern Requirements over the last several months is that you'll notice that we've achieved several additional Microsoft designations. As you can see right here, let me see if I can get my cursor over there. We are now considered a Microsoft AI Cloud partner. We are also a Microsoft Solutions partner, and not just any solutions partner. We've been able to achieve accreditation in infrastructure, in data and AI, in digital and app innovation. And these are not trivial. Working with the Microsoft teams, our dev teams, or, from a compliance perspective, we have always seen the value in achieving these types of accreditations with Microsoft, and being a Microsoft trusted partner, and understanding that you as our clients are, trusting us to keep up to speed with these things. We've made that investment in time and effort. Lastly, I want to highlight the fact that we are considered a Microsoft certified software solution partner. What does that really mean? Well, our software is independently reviewed by Microsoft for architecture, security, and reliability, which means it reduces technical security and procurement risk for our customers. And so for you folks, as you think about Modern Requirements and Azure DevOps, and how you're using it today, and how our tool is evolving, and how you can use it more, and maybe with more of your teams and more folks within your organization, you can trust that we've done our due diligence in working with Microsoft to ensure that you have that level of confidence moving forward. So in just a few moments, we're going to be launching a poll. We're very excited and interested to hear how or what are the key reasons for your joining today. So with that being said, let's get that poll up, and I'd like to get your feedback on what you're most excited to hear and see from us today. I do encourage everyone to, on the top right-hand corner, I think the poll's been launched. Okay, so what would make the biggest difference in how your teams work? Faster performance, smarter automation and agentic workflows, responsible AI with human in the loop, or all of the above? We'll give everyone a few moments. We're at about 50% of folks who voted. Don't be shy. We're about 67% of the way there. Okay. So lots of folks for smarter automation and agentic workflows. That's an exciting piece that we're going to be showing today. And all the above. Well, you know what, folks? We have a few treats for you today. And if you've been using Modern Requirements for the last several years, which I know many of you have, thank you. And you're going to notice some of the performance improvements that we've made and overall architectural improvements. So thank you, marketing folks, for running that. Let me bring my slides back. All right, so quickly, before we jump into the demo, which I know that's what everyone is excited to see, Modern Requirements today, has helped you folks to create a single source of truth within Azure DevOps. It's provided end-to-end traceability, and we've heard from our clients repeatedly that is such a key element in understanding change, in building out effective workflows. So that's what has been driving value today. Leveraging the data security of Azure DevOps, whether it be on the cloud or on-prem, with single sign-on. Many folks, as yourselves, so both new and existing clients, have found that using Modern Requirements has helped multiple different teams collaborate in a single tool. And lastly, we've always been a feature-rich solution with SmartDocs and review management, traceability. But what you're going to notice is that we're getting crisp in improvements on those key capabilities that you've learned to love or enjoyed over the last several years. And we're very ambitious / excited to show you what we have. So looking at the right-hand side here, what Modern Requirements NextGen really brings is faster performance for core workflows. We've listened to your feedback, and we are launching that. Greater platform stability and predictability at scale. We have taken the time and made the investments into re-architecture the foundational architecture. So on modern ADO for the purpose of scaling. And then lastly, key components like SmartDocs and traceability experiences are being improved. The UI, the performance, you're going to see in just a few moments what that really means. And lastly, future-ready foundation for faster innovation and AI. Now, as you know, we've launched Copilot for DevOps last couple of years. We're on the precipice of launching agents for DevOps, and it's an exciting time to be in. And with those tools and using those tools, we're using it to help Modern Requirements improve as well. And so that's really how it all culminates. And you're probably ready to see what we have to share. So with that being said, I'd like to invite Jareera to the stage so that we can get this demo kicked off. Jareera?
Hi, Shehan, and hi, everybody, and thank you for joining us on this webinar today. I'm going to go ahead and bring my screen up.
Absolutely.
Now, we really appreciate everyone who is joining us today to witness the first reveal of Modern Requirement NextGen. And since folks that are joining us today, they are already familiar with Modern Requirements, so today's session is not about reintroducing the platform or even revisiting the fundamentals. Today is focused on how the tool has evolved and how Modern Requirement NextGen supports the foundation teams rely on as your projects scale. And as Shihan mentioned, what you'll see today is the result of customer feedback, your suggestions that we have received over the past couple of years. So you asked for faster performance in SmartDoc, clearer traceability, and a more native Azure DevOps experience. And today, Modern Requirement NextGen directly reflects that. And as I'm going to walk you through the tool today, I'd like you to keep three things in mind. What you will notice here is boost in performance and overall responsiveness of the tool, how naturally it fits into your Azure DevOps experience, and how much friction is going to be removed from your day to day requirements management work. So let's jump right in, and we'll be starting off with our SmartDoc tool. Now, the concept of SmartDoc will remain the same. It is going to give you the ability to create live documents in Azure DevOps in a structured format, great for compliance. But the experience itself is going to be significantly improved. So, what teams are going to notice here is performance. So, you can even see here that with around 600 work item, the document loading time is drastically improving. You will also see faster response time. So, as I'm scrolling through the document, it's loading immediately, which really becomes critical as your project matures and requirement volume grows. You need a tool that is going to respond you immediately. Now, another enhancement that we have made to our SmartDoc is you can continue to visit the entire document as is in a flat list, where the hierarchy is represented with the numbering here. But with Modern Requirement NextGen, we now have given you the ability to view the entire document as a hierarchy, which really gives you a clear understanding of how complex requirement structure is decomposing across multiple levels. Also, we have simplified adding existing work items in the Smart Doc. So previously, it would require a drag and drop, but this time around, we have given you the ability to look for your work items right here. And as you're bringing this data, you simply have to select it, go to the desired level, and insert it from this icon over here. And your document will be updated. We also have simplified how you can see a comparison between your document. So as you continue to grow with your data, you have lots of changes coming your way. Now you can see a more clear change indicator. So as you're coming into the compare tab, you will instantly notice what has been removed from your smart doc and what new things have been added. So now this is highlighted. Great when you have to quickly see where the change happened. Now, as Modern Requirement continues to grow with Azure DevOps, we have been working on this platform for about 15 years now. We have now streamlined how the user interface would look like. So now it closely matches the element and the design style of Azure DevOps. So you can see all these functionalities that you used to leverage is now available on the right top. And this directly reduces the onboarding time. So if folks are familiar with Azure DevOps, they have been working across the backlog, the boards, the ability to work with modern requirement tooling will become much more simpler. So those are the few enhancements that we are coming up with, a major boost in performance and overall responsiveness of the tool. Now, once your requirements are structured, the next challenge team face is how to extract meaningful information for different stakeholders. So with our smart report in NextGen, you can simply invoke the tool directly from your smart doc. It will be available from your backlogs as well. And Here you will notice that the performance is going to be significantly improved. You can generate reports directly using the default templates or by designing your own custom template from the designer. So the UI is completely revamped as well. Also, with reports of around hundreds and thousands of work items can now be generated in seconds. So you can apply any styling to it. And as you generate the report, in just a few seconds, you're able to get a clear layout and the performance is much more stronger. And now you can continue to save it in a Word format, in a PDF, or even as an HTML. Now, with the advancements in the performance of Smart Report, this really becomes a tool that teams can rely on. So, whether for custom reporting, stakeholder updates, and even for compliance documentation. All right, then. So, that's our Smart Doc and Smart Report continue to work brilliantly within the Azure DevOps space, give you the ability to create your live documents. And now, once these documents are created, next comes the challenge of getting feedback from your stakeholders. So, as you're working with your documentations, you can now send it out for review and approval, where you can provide a title, select your approvers and reviewers directly from this dropdown. Now, the major enhancement in the review management module is you will, even with documents with larger work items or requests with larger volume of data, can easily be navigated. So you can scroll through this entire list of those 500 work items. Also, with our review management module, we now support multi-select. So users can select multiple items from this list and continue to provide their approval or their rejection from the right panel. Also, as you're providing your approvals, your rejection, the responses are now clearly visible in terms of what has been approved, what has been rejected. Now, one important improvement that you will notice with the review management module is the reviewers and the approvers can now select a particular text from the request and they can attach it as a selection. So instead of vague comments, now reviewers can give more precise and contextual feedback. So as we click on attach selection, I can add in comments. And once that's done, the initiator can reply to it, can comment on it, and so on and so forth. Now, as you work with the review management module, which is great from compliance perspective as you're adding your comments, your feedback, everything is time stamped, and you will have the ability to generate the audit reports from the right top. Very, very seamless UI in terms of how you currently use Azure DevOps. Also, you will have the ability to create additional requests, utilize the Smart Report tool. So the functionality is going to be the same as you have experienced with Modern Requirement. However, the performance boost is much more significant. So as we continue to provide approval or provide review on the requirements, you also have this ability to create baselines, whether you are building them from your document or you're building them directly from the review management module. Now, as you come to the baseline tool, it is all about auditability. What has been approved, how the changes are coming your way, and how to easily track those changes. So you can instantly see the changes as you go to the compare tab. And the changes are going to be visible right here, and you can see that visible on the UI too. The biggest change here is not the functionality, it's clarity and speed that you're getting. This much, this is something that becomes really important as your compliance expectation grows. and as your backlog and your requirement continue to grow within Azure DevOps. You can now continue to generate your difference report from the right top, which essentially allows you to either create a summary report or a detailed report, and then you can save it as a Word document or even as a PDF file. Now, SmartDoc, Review, and Baseline, they will continue to remain the core capabilities of Modern Requirement NextGen. So as you are constructing your documentation, you are handing them off for stakeholder approval or even baselining it. The overall performance has been improved in the sense that you will experience great boost on how you navigate within the tool, as well as loading times are going to be much more faster. So I'm really excited to get your question in the chat, and we will address them as we wrap up the session for today. Now, lastly, for today's webinar from Modern Requirement NextGen, before we jump into the AI stuff, what I would like to show here is our new enhanced traceability. Now, the folks that are joining us today, they already know that traceability has been a core strength of Modern Requirement. And with Modern Requirement, we have really elevated it to the next level. We have made it easier to visualize, analyze, and as we go into any of these trace matrices, you will notice that even with work items up to 2,000 or 3,000 work items, the traceability loaded instantly, and it's now much easier to read, which really allows you to see how the epic to the feature decompositioning is happening. Also, at each level, you will see this view link tree option. Oh, didn't mean to do that. So with link view tree, we are giving you the end-to-end visibility starting from the selected epic all the way down to its children item. So you can see it shows the parent right here from the feature, and also you will be able to see all the associated children within this view. You can continue to drill down and start seeing more data within this link tree view. This really gives you an amazing view to see where the gaps are and where you need to invest your time in. Also, as we are working with the horizontal trace matrix, a lot of folks would prefer to view the data as they are used to do in the backlog or in the queries module. But we all know there are certain limitations when it comes to the backlog view and even with the queries module that if you are looking to traverse through a tree of work item, you only see the parent child linkages. Now, what we have done here, we have given you the tree view within the trace matrix, which shows you in a backlog style how the work item decompositioning is happening. So you can see in a quick glance that this particular epic contains 7 children, what the state of this work item is, and also how they are decomposing regardless of how they are linked together. So whether you have linked your requirements as a parent child or you have selected any other link type that is supported within Azure DevOps, like predecessor, successor, or related. Also, within the traceability matrix, a lot of folks used to ask us, is there a way to filter the data? So if I were to say previously, no, you need to export it and then filter it out. But with Modern Requirement NextGen, we are now giving you this ability to filter the content. This could be based on your ID or the content that you have plugged into your title. And as I'm going to type in, you will see it will show you a more filtered view on what you would like to see in the trace matrix. So clearer visibility and enhancement that you were already asking about. is going to be part of Modern Requirement NextGen Traceability.
Hey, Drea, and folks, I wanted to quickly just jump in. I noticed there's a lot of great questions coming up in the Q&A box, and some of them are with respect to the demo. We'll definitely be addressing those in the Q&A section, so keep them coming, and thank you so much. I just wanted to quickly address them. Back to you, Drea.
Awesome. Perfect. All right. Lastly, with our traceability in the horizontal trace matrix, we have introduced the analytical insights. So as you click on this tab, and I'm sure a lot of folks would have great feedback on this particular function because they were asking how I can see a more analytical view because this is great. I can see the end to end traceability, but where my work items are at, I wanted to see that. Is there a way? So with our analytical view, you can now see the number of items that are part of the traceability, its maximum depth, what is the average number of children, and not only that, it also shows you the state distribution right here in a much easier and understandable way. So, in a glance, you can know this amount of data is still sitting in new. So, the project managers can simply start bugging their team to update the states, start working on things that needs to be addressed. Also, as we scroll down, it will also give you insights on which level of work item is missing downstream. All right, I'll just scroll it all the way to the bottom, and you can now see it's also giving me a summary for the gap analysis. So it says there are 2,000 work items with missing downstreams. There are user stories that does not contain test cases, and three features are there which are missing user story. So in a glance, you will be able to see where your project currently is at. Also, this insight can be, I'll just scroll up, can be exported in a CSV format. So this is something that we are giving you with the analytical view. So those are a few enhancements that comes with our traceability. And we have just seen the horizontal trace matrix. Let me show you the intersection trace matrix. Now, intersection trace matrix will continue to support any two work items of your backlog. And this could be your out of the box work item and your custom work items. As you create this traceability, you can continue to build out your linkages directly here, as well as you now see the total coverage, the amount of data that is present in this particular intersection matrix. You also have the ability to see other type of views while you are looking for the traceability gaps. So here, if you go to the list view, it is going to show you work items that are missing links, work items that contains ample links, and again, the heat map view is going to take it to another level where it also shows you the breakdown of how the total decomposition of this matrix is happening. So for all these around 2000 work item, how the linkages are happening at each feature level, you'll be able to see that. And it also shows you the coverage legend right here. So if the ample coverage is there, you will see instant green. If the coverage is minimum, you will see blue, which we currently do. And this is going to be updated in real time. So as you continue to work on your backlogs, your other areas, the matrix will always show you how your project look like in the current state. So I'm just going to step back here for a moment. What we are seeing with the traceability here is it instantly highlights where the coverage is missing and also how complex the requirement structure has become. So, from compliance and auditability perspective, users can now make those decisions to further enhance their project. All right. So, those are a few enhancements that we have done at each module level. And as we have walked you through Modern Requirement NextGen today, it will remain deeply integrated with your Azure DevOps. So as you go to the backlog view here and go to any work item, You can simply go to any work item and start creating your baselines. You can send these requirements out for review and approval, as well as we have given you our smart edit right from the backlog. Now, smart edit really combines the viewing, the comparing, and editing experience into a single window, which is really going to reduce friction and allow team to refine requirements as they are comparing the change in a single space. So here from the top, you can view the different version of the work item. So if you wanted to see how my work item looked in version 3, you can simply go to that specific version and see the progress of your work item at that point in time. Also, if you would like to do a quick comparison, you can simply go to the compare option, select the version, and see the changes instantly. So, really helping you to see where the change happened. And not only that, you will have the access to our editor where you can expand the space, continue to update. I'm just going to add in some details here. You can even create your tables and format it any way you like with the new editor. And as you save and close, the changes are going to reflect in real time. Lastly, with our smart editor, you now have the ability to see linked artifacts. So as you're working with different modules of modern requirement, your work item is part of a smart doc, maybe a review, and even if you have baselined it, you will get a clearer view of where this work item is currently present. Makes it much more easier to see the visibility of where your work items are currently included. Now, as we have seen this enhancements and advancement in modern requirement next gen, it actually ties nicely back on what our goal was: performance improvements, stability of the tool, and a more Azure DevOps aligned experience. You have noticed throughout this webinar that you can see a performance boost in capabilities like SmartDoc and traceability. Viewing the data hasn't been ever this simpler. You don't really have to spend time to get your data loaded. It is automatically done for you. So the platform is faster, it is more reliable, and easier to work with as your project scale. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is Modern Requirement Next Gen. Now, as these improvements strengthen the foundation, it also enables a much more stronger and streamlined AI experience. So, what I would like to do next is to give you a quick teaser on what's coming up with Copilot for DevOps version 8. So, with Copilot for DevOps version 8, the experience is super streamlined, it's more contextual, and even more flexible. Now, you can continue to enable the tool from the context menu. And what you will notice now is a complete revamp of the UI of Copilot for DevOps. Users can now customize the entire layout. They can now see all these different functionalities are grouped as categories, and you can make any of these functions as your favorite. So, for example, if you are an avid user of dynamic prompt, you can simply make it your favorite and it will start showing up on the top. Also, as you have been working with the tool with functionalities like elicit, with functionalities like diagrams and mockup, you have really responded well with the ability to upload the artifacts to provide additional context. So, with Copilot for DevOps version 8, we have really enhanced that upload experience for you. So not only you can upload your files into the system, you can upload them either as a reference or as a value. Also, a lot of folks were asking, how can we bring in our attachments of the work item as context? So if you have any attachments that are part of your work item, you will now have the ability to select them and upload them as a context for the elicitation. Similarly, if you have the BYOD license, you can reference specific files while you are creating additional work items, and also the support of web links. So even if your description, your other data doesn't contain a URL, you can simply add the links directly here. The better context you are setting up as you are eliciting additional work items, the system will continue to enhance and give you recommendations that truly matters for you. So this enhancement is not only visible from the elicit functionality, but wherever the upload function is available, you will see a similar experience. Now, another enhancement that we have done with our dynamic prompt feature is we have now given you the ability to upload files to dynamic prompt as well. So previously, it was a custom prompt that you're providing, and the context was set to either your selected work items or query of work items. But now you can also upload your private data in the sense that if you would like to do a quick gap analysis on your GDPR regulations or your standards that are private to you, you can now set it as a reference by uploading that file and perform gap assessment on those work items. So great enhancements are coming up when we are really excited for the upcoming release of Copilot for DevOps version 8. Now, we have talked about updates from the Copilot for DevOps window from the context menu. We have also enhanced our Copilot for DevOps hub. So, previously, when you are coming into the Copilot hub, it only gives you access to the chat, and you can then create work items and navigate to any other function. But now, as we are coming into the Copilot hub from the left panel, you will see that not only you can chat through the system, you now have the ability to reference work items. You don't really have to really look for those work items. Just hit on the pound sign and search for them by searching their IDs or their titles. Also, with this upcoming version, we are now supporting share chat collaboration. So previously, it was individual effort that you're putting in, and maybe to share the progress, you may save it in the shared folder. But now with Copilot for DevOps version 8, multiple folks can collaborate and see what's going on with the project. So, really streamlining the overall experience on how folks would like to use Copilot for DevOps. Also, you will notice on the top, we have given you access to all the other functionality of Copilot directly from the Copilot Hub. So, if you would like to create additional work items, you can simply go to the Elicit tool, bring a work item as a context, or even upload file to start from scratch. So no longer looking for a work item in the backlog, you can simply come to the Copilot for DevOps Hub and start working on your project. And of course, it will give you access to all these different functions from these ellipses as well. Now we have talked about streamlining or making it easier to work with Azure DevOps as we are working with Modern Requirement NextGen as well as Copilot. So what we have done here is as we open any of these work items, you will notice that we have integrated Copilot for DevOps directly in your standard Azure DevOps editor. So as we go to this tab, you will now see we have given you access to the most utilized tools. So things like chat, elicit, analyze, where you can quickly analyze what the quality of your requirement currently is, and perform real time updates as you are working within your Azure DevOps editor. We have also come up with the work item insights. And this particular functionality is really going to help teams understand the quality gaps, the clarity directly within their requirements. And these are real time insights. You can see for all these category, the system is giving a status along with a score. And not only that, it's also giving us some actions that we can perform to make it better. Now, as you continue to improve anything within the work item, the changes are going to be reflected in real time. So currently, I am changing the state to active. And as I do so, my progress and state flow, which was previously was at a watch state, I can now see it has been improved to good. It is also giving you an indication here that you need to work on some testing um, work items. So right now this is at risk. So it's giving you a pointer to go to Elicit and start building out your test cases. So those are a few updates that we are coming up with version 8 of Copilot for DevOps. Just to quickly summarize, what you have seen today in this webinar is a really focus on strengthening the foundation, faster performance, easier traceability, clearer auditability, and a more native Azure DevOps experience. And with that strong foundation in place, teams can confidently layer the AI capabilities of Copilot for DevOps without introducing risk. Now, what I would like to do here is to hand things over to Asif, who will walk us through what we are working on next, particularly around agent capabilities and how it is going to extend the experience even further. So, Asif, over to you.
Excellent. Thank you, Javier. This Modern Requirements NextGen is looking so good.
Absolutely.
And also the Copilot for DevOps enhancements, I think is going to make it much more interesting for people. But let me talk about, just for a bit, let me talk about agents for DevOps. All right. So folks, agents for DevOps is a product we'll be launching in March, so in about a month's time. And what Agents for DevOps does is takes the AI capability of our product suite to the next level. Now, Copilot for DevOps is used to, you use it explicitly. So you go to chat, you go to Elicit, you go to diagramming, you go to mockup, you go to all of these places and you do things with it. But agents can be set up to run on their own. They can also be used to be called from the chat. Okay, so what we have here is we've got agents and we support skills. Now, I just want to make a quick distinction between agents and skills. An agent is like having an assistant product owner that can do things for you. Okay. An agent could be a PO agent, a product owner agent, a compliance agent, a QA agent, a code review agent, or whatever else you want, a build agent. And the skill is the ability for the agent to do certain things. So you can train the agent to do certain things. For example, if you have seen the movie Matrix, you may remember the scene where Neo is on the rooftop and he needs to learn how to fly a helicopter and he doesn't know how to fly one. So they download a skill into Neo and all of a sudden he knows how to fly a helicopter. Okay. So a skill is a capability that an agent can be trained on. So an agent could have many skills. So the agent can do many things. So with agents for DevOps, you can define many types of agents and then have skills that are associated to it. So when the agent runs, it will use the appropriate skills and do the needful. Now, there are two types of skills. There are two types of agents we have. So one type of agent is called an autonomous agent. The other is called an execution agent. An execution agent basically takes your, so if you've used MapCal in Modern Requirements 1.0, not the next gen, the previous gen, you know that you can set up, you can do FMEA calculations in MapCal. But that calculation is constrained based on the user interface that we've given you. It's quite flexible, but it is still constrained. But with the execution agent, you can essentially give it a prompt and it will create code for you. It's almost like vibe programming, but it'll create code for you that will get executed when a work item is created or updated, or for that matter, you then choose which work item needs to be created, updated when this thing would be executed. Okay? So you create a prompt and you tell him, you give him your rule set, and it'll create a whole code base for you, and then the code will get executed when this thing happens. Okay, so that's one type of agent. The other type of agent you have is called an autonomous agent. And what an autonomous agent does is either you can trigger it manually, or it can be triggered on a work item change, or there's a variety of different triggers. Like for example, when a build is completed, when a code change is made, when a pipeline is when a job is run, when certain work items change. So there are many triggers on which the agent can be triggered. And then what you can do is you can basically give it a prompt, and based on the prompt, this agent will create the agent you want to use in the system. Okay. So we have created agents to create agents so that you don't have to write the agents yourself. The system will give you a pretty good starting point. You can fine tune it. Okay. Now, what does an agent look like? So if I go to this agent, you will see agent has a title, a description, instructions for the agent. In this case, it's saying, hey, how should I output the user story gap analysis, and has many tags in it. You can upload other resources for the agent, as in files. You can link other tools to it, like skills can be linked to the agents. You can define MCP servers so that agents for DevOps can talk to other systems. Okay, and then you can have sub agents. Okay. Now, and then finally, you can set up notification when the agent is successful, then do this. If it's not successful, do that, and so on and so forth. Now, when you run an agent, so in this case, I've run an agent through the chat, and it's doing running a gap analysis for me. Using that agent, the agent was told to just provide a PDF file, which it did, and this is what that PDF looks like. I've got many other examples of agents where the outputs look differently because it's trying to do different things and so on. But one of the key things you'll find is here is a agent that was run, and it actually went and did a very thorough analysis for traceability completeness that goes through design, code, test, defects, and so on and so forth, and will do a full scan of the system and give you the final result. We also have agent examples where what we have done is we have actually taken it from inception, which is define requirements, analyze it, improve it, decompose it, create a scaffolding for the code, and then present that to the various stakeholders in a report. Okay, or you can go beyond. Here's a really good example. Let's say you set up an agent where whenever a bug is created, the agent gets triggered. The agent, in turn, goes through the related test cases, the related requirements, the code it's linked to. Okay. And it analyzes what went wrong, where did things go wrong, and how do you fix it, and how do you make sure it doesn't happen again. And it provides you a report for that. And the report can either be embedded into the bug in a field, or you can create a wiki and just add a link of the wiki to the bug, say here's where the analysis is, or you can create a PDF. So there's so many use cases how you can use agent to have the agents do repeatable, intelligent work while you sleep. While you are doing other work, the agent is doing your work. You see, in the future, I think it's going to be inevitable that we are all going to turn into agent managers. The ability to create and manage agents is going to be a critical skill. So how do you work with agents? And we'll talk a lot more about it in the upcoming weeks as we release agents for DevOps. But hopefully, this was just a quick teaser of what's coming, so you sort of start to think about it. But our expectation is, if Copilot for DevOps took you from here to here, agents should take you up there. Literally, I think that's the impact. 2026 is going to be the year of agents, where we'll have a lot of help. Now, to use agents well, you still need to have subject matter expertise. You still need to know how to do all the things you do today, so that you can manage the agents well. But you'll be able to do it better and faster and more because it's doing it while you're at lunch, right? And you come back, you review, you approve it, and you go off to the races. The last point I'll make is we've also supported human in the loop in this thing, which means that agents can run until it determines that now I should stop and ask you. And once you approve, it'll proceed, or you can tell it not to proceed and he'll take a different path. Okay. So that's a quick overview of agents. And we'll be talking more about it. All right, Chian, what's up?
Thank you, Asif. And folks, just thinking about today and kind of modern requirements, the investments we're making on building a strong foundation in modern requirements. I know it's a system that you're using and you're loving and your teams are making the most of it. But if you think about kind of what you've seen today, building that strong foundation, re-architecting it so that it is scalable, accelerating your efforts by using Copilot, and then really hyper accelerating using agents is really what we're invested in doing for our clients, you folks. So that being said, we have a series of questions I want to get through, but just before we do, would love to hear what you got most excited about from what you've seen today in our webinar. So I'm going to ask our marketing team here to put up that poll. What are you most excited about in the next evolution of modern requirements? Easier, more intuitive UI, agentic ways of working, smarter Copilot capabilities, faster and more reliable performance, or all of the above? We'll give everyone a few moments. Thank you, folks, for responding, and thank you for all the questions. And we're going to address those here in just a moment. Okay, we are at. Just quickly check here. So we got about a third of the folks voting. If you would love to hear from you. We'll give everyone another quick moment here to get their feedback in. Okay. We're about halfway. Okay. So listen, leading the pack, your fast, more reliable performance. Yeah. We've heard your feedback. We've made those investments. We've architected it from the ground up so that you'll get just that. And you know what, and all of the above, we're very excited about that. Both, strong infrastructure, good foundation, augmenting yourselves with AI in a meaningful way, and then ultimately getting to a place where there's agents in the loop. Well, you know what, Asif and Joria, maybe I'll invite you back for a moment so we can start to jump into some of these questions. So the first one, it says, how does this impact users with complex on-prem deployments?
So it doesn't really. We will provide a installation as we do for our previous versions. So there will be an installation. Now there is going to be a migration. We have optimized our architecture of how the data is stored and processed and encrypted and so on. So we will provide, as part of the installation, we'll provide a migration tool so you can migrate your old data to the new format, so that you can then use it with MR NextGen.
Thank you. Next, can the SmartDoc also compare the acceptance criteria in addition to the description?
Yes, it can. So it depends on what you've configured in SmartDocs. So compare will compare any and all fields you have in the SmartDocs.
Got it. How does this impact users currently utilizing the API?
So we will be providing an updated API for MR NextGen. So just from a timing point of view, we expect to release MR NextGen in March, so in the next few weeks, into the sandbox and eval environments. And 2 weeks after that, we'll start to roll it out into production. Yeah. So when we release it out into production, either at that point or very shortly thereafter, we will release an API as well.
The next question is, will we be getting the recording? The short answer is yes. So I'll just skip that one. Could you please clarify what the document compare functionality is dependent on? Specifically, are we only able to compare versions that have been completed using the MR approval workflow, or does the feature also support comparisons of drafts?
Yeah, for sure. It allows you to do both. So any version of a SmartDoc can be compared to every other version. Now, if you're doing reviews, then versions are created automatically for you, but any can be compared to any.
This one's actually related to one of the previous questions I asked. If it's, is there a migration strategy in place for MR artifacts?
Yeah. So I talked about the private hosted environment. So if you do it on-prem, we will provide a script for that, for migration. For people who are on our cloud multi-tenant, it will be transparent to you. So your data will get migrated in the right format, and you'll start to use MR 2.0. Obviously, we'll communicate all of that with you folks in advance, so you know when to expect it.
Here's an interesting one. Also, should we expect these features to be available in our environment, considering we have active licenses, or will this require activation from your side first?
No, MR 2.0 will. It's the same license. So once you get MR 2.0, it'll just work.
In the trace matrix, are we able to filter first by parent-child and after the child is tested by which test case?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, you can basically pick any pathway, up, down, sideways, to put the whole thing together.
Is the tracking in SmartDocs will be generated in a Word document?
Yeah. So if you do compare two SmartDocs with track changes and you save to Word, then you will see the red line output in Word.
This next one is more of a comment, not a question. This is great. I like this next gen already. All right, thank you, Saeed. Recording. Loving the new traceability feature. Our stakeholders are going to love it. When will it be available, and will there be any impact on existing matrices we have created?
So no, there will not be any impact on matrices or templates you guys have created. That's part of the migration routine. So if the format has changed, if it has been optimized, we will make sure that it's migrated accordingly. And as I said, our plan is to roll it out early mid-March. A couple of weeks after that, in the sandbox, we will then make it available in production.
Next is a comment, but I'll read it. Like the in-time trace report, great work. The next question is there some kind of migration required to use the current work items also with the upgrade of MR to NextGen? I guess the short answer is no, given the last two, so I'll move on. Then we got great improvements, nice improvements. When will these be available? I see that a few times here, Asif.
Yeah, March. Yeah.
March. Okay. Okay. Can I use this AI to create user stories? If so, is there any option to select the AI within the user story page?
Yes. So that's one of the things that we are releasing with MR 8.0, and which we are planning either end of this week or early next. Hopefully end of this week, which is 2 days left to go. But we're very close to completing the testing on that. So in the work item detail window, there's a tab now for Copilot. So you go in there, you can elicit from there, you can analyze from there, you can pretty much do everything directly from the work item window, the ADO window.
Next one is there a way for users to create templates for work items? That way, my company is able to standardize a certain format across the team.
Yeah. I mean, that's a function of Azure DevOps, where you can define new work item types or data templates. So that's already part of Azure DevOps. It's not really a modern requirements thing.
Here's an interesting one. Does this solution come with validation documentation from your organization for companies that will be using this in a regulated industry?
So it's not provided by default, but if you need it, please reach out to us.
Okay. Okay. Are there any plans for bring your own AI model to be available outside of enterprise license agreements?
Yes. You can with Copilot and soon with Agent for DevOps, you will be able to, and you can even today use your own LLM. So just provide your own key for OpenAI or Azure, and the system will use your LLM.
Okay. And yeah, we're continuing to expand also the LLMs that we support. So stay tuned, and that's an ever evolving area. Next up, I have a question. Is there possible now using smart reports to export test cases with test steps in a different format? Currently, the way the table of the test cases steps is not editable. So I'll read that again. Using smart reports to export test cases with test steps in a different format? Currently, the way the table of the test cases steps is not editable.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be editable. The way Azure DevOps stores the data is in a HTML field. So it's just one field. The steps is actually coming through as one unit. And so we basically render it in the report as it is stored there. So at this point in time, we don't, but that's a conversation we can have.
Next up, any updates to diagrams, simulation, etc.?
No. Well, in Copilot, we are continuing to make enhancements to both diagrams and mockups. Really, that's where our focus is going to be. Instead of in MR. So one of the things we have been looking at is, so we've got a lot of capabilities. The question is what capabilities belong where and what's the optimal use of them, right? So you will see that one of the things we're doing, we're trying to streamline, so not to have too many redundant capabilities, overlapping redundant capabilities. So the markup in MR going forward is going to be part of Copilot. Okay. Diagram is one exception where we'll have redundancy. It'll be in MR, but of course it's going to be in Copilot as well. So that's one exception, but otherwise we are trying to streamline it.
Then this one is slightly, we've answered this once or maybe twice, Asif, but I'm going to ask this one because I think it's it's for folks on cloud, but do we receive the update to MR NextGen automatically as it is available in production? Do we need to do something to receive the update?
If you're on the Modern Requirements Cloud, which is on Azure, then you don't have to do anything. We will send out the notification in advance. You'll know when you're doing it, and then we'll do it. And next morning you come, it'll be all new. If you're on-prem, of course, we'll send notification out that this is available now, and then you can download it and install it. And of course, run the migration tool, but we'll provide all the instructions to you as need be.
We've rapid fired through 30 questions already, Asif. The next one is, will we be able to export the trace matrix as a PDF as shown on the live view?
So it cannot be exported as shown on the live view, because live view has lots of rich elements. It's not as simple. I mean, we export it to Excel, I think is our default export format. But you know what we should do? I don't know if you're doing it, but we should, in Trace Matrix, we have another view. This is a hierarchy view. We should actually provide a way to export that into a Word document as the hierarchy, as a smart report thing. But I just thought of that based on your question. So thank you for the question. I'll make sure that we put it in our backlog, but we already have smart reports. I don't think that should be a big deal. And from there, you can get, of course, a PDF as well.
I like this one. How is the agent's work tracked?
So every time an agent runs, a job is created. So you can actually look at a list of jobs, and when you drill down into a job, it'll tell you what was the job, what did it do at a high level, and then you can go to the response tab and see a detailed response of what exactly it did. Okay. So it's almost like a chat output of what the agent did. So everything is logged to the nth degree.
Ooh, this is an interesting one. Is the schema changing so that any Power BI reporting, depending on the existing schema, will fail?
No. Why not? Because the schema is really Azure DevOps. So with MR NextGen, it just sits on the same Azure DevOps you have. So your Azure DevOps schema does not change.
Okay. And are items that have been approved during a review locked for further editing? If not, would this be possible? Are items that have been approved during a review locked for further editing? Question mark. If not, would this be possible?
You know, I need to check. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. There may be a way when a work item gets approved, you change the state to approved, and approved state, you set up a workflow where the work item is now disabled. All the fields are disabled, you can't change it. I think that's doable.
Yeah, for the person who asked that question, I'm going to encourage you to reach out and we can set up some time and kind of walk through that. We can have, maybe Juria or someone from our team to, play with it with you to see how that can make that work. So with that being said, Asif, I think that covered most of the questions here. I know we were over time by a little bit, but I want to, for all the folks who are still remained online, thank you. And while we wrap up, maybe Asif, I'll turn it to you before I do kind of the wrap up and give folks an opportunity to reach out to us. So I'd love to get your final thoughts before we start to wrap.
So just a couple of questions I had read earlier. Somebody asked, would agents be available on-prem? So one of the things we are working on is providing you with using your own LLM that is local. So if you use, for example, OSS, the OpenAI's open source model, or if you fancy GLM 4.7 or whichever open source model that you want to deploy on-prem, you'd be able to do that. And once you do that, both Agent for DevOps and Copilot for DevOps could work on-prem. So that's one thing. There was another question: does Copilot for DevOps adhere to enterprise data protection? And the answer is yes. So there is no training done based on your data. Obviously, that's assurances are provided by both OpenAI and Microsoft on that, because they are the default providers we use. But of course, if you bring your own LLM, then you got to make sure that your providers provide you with similar guarantees. But we certainly do. There's a few more questions. Maybe what we'll do is we'll come back to with answers on these questions and send it out.
Yeah.
But guys, I just wanted to leave you with a thought. Not only are we all going to become agent managers, but I think many of us will become agent architects. How do you configure agents to optimize your business processes and to improve your quality of work, right? Sometimes people have come to me and said, is AI going to take over my job? And as far as I can tell, that is not going to happen. I think what we have found, as when AI just came out and I could sort of see the light at the end of the tunnel, I said, this is going to be awesome. And of course, many people say it's a train coming our way. But it wasn't a train coming, because we only have had to bring more people on board to do what we do. Although we have already, I would guess, about 5x our productivity over the last couple, 3 years. We need more people to do what we do, because there's so much to be done, right? So I don't think it's going to take your jobs. It's going to make you smarter. It's going to make you better. And it's going to make your organizations be more successful. So I would say, don't be fearful with AI. Embrace it. Obviously, do it sensibly. Don't go head first. But I think it is a absolute must for all professionals in our industries to be able to use AI effectively. And as Modern Requirements, we are trying to build the right tools that makes your life better. With that, over to you, Shayan.
Actually, you touched on something that I just want to close the loop on as well, is to say that, as Modern Requirements and as the SVP of Global Sales folks, is that we had our best quarter in company history last quarter, and followed by a very strong January. And as I've said, it's true. Our organization has adopted AI, and we're adopting AI in all different facets, and all it's doing is making us grow faster, and we're going to be hiring. So if you're excited about the journey that we're on, our technology, reach out. As our team grows and expands, there are opportunities to be a part of this kind of evolution. So with that being said, thank you for being our clients. Thank you for investing in us and our development and our team and our solutions. And ultimately, we're excited to bring NextGen to you, as well as improvements in Copilot and Agents for DevOps. I do encourage you to reach out to your account executives for bespoke demonstrations and to inquire, what is it going to look like to upgrade or expand your relationship with Modern Requirements, Copilot for DevOps, and Agents. We're here to serve, and we look forward to hearing from you. You will be receiving an email. The link to the recording will be shared as well. So I do encourage you all to join our team in this journey and expand our relationship. So that being said, thank you. And I wish you guys all the best. And for folks who are reviewing this after the fact, reviewing this video, reach out to us. We'd love to have a detailed walkthrough of our capabilities, and looking forward to partnering as we move forward. And also, thank you for all the feedback. It's been part of our journey in evolving our tools with your feedback. So thank you, and have a great rest of your day. Cheers.